There are some stories that they grab you immediately, even before you know all the details.
Yeah.
We as humans, we seem wired to try and make sense of these complex, often, well, tragic events. We want to understand what happened.
Yeah, you've really touched on something there. It's often the sheer incomprehensibility, especially when it involves a child, a young life, and such an unimaginable kind of betrayal.
Mm.
This is a really difficult story we're looking at today. Our deep dive, it pulls from quite a few comprehensive sources. We've got detailed news reports covering the whole investigation, the actual charging documents filed by the authorities, and maybe most importantly, these incredibly personal, emotional statements from Manny's mother, Ashley Berry.
Okay, so our goal today, our mission is really to unpack that timeline. What happened when, and highlight the key evidence that led investigators to, well, their chilling conclusion. And maybe most importantly, try to understand the human impact. What this has meant for Manny's family, his community. We'll stick to the reported facts, and then we'll hear directly from his mother about her perspective, her fight.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning, unpacking this. The last official contact from 16-year-old Jordan Manny Collins Jr. was very early morning, May 8th, 2025, around 4 a.m.
Right, he'd reacted to a text message. That was the last digital footprint, essentially.
And at that time, he was living with his father, Jordan D. Collins Sr., in an apartment in Columbia Heights.
Correct. And this is where, things start to diverge almost immediately. His mother, Ashley Berry, she's the one who reported him missing, but that wasn't until May 12th.
A few days later.
Yeah, a delay there. And when she first spoke to Collins Sr., his story was that Manny had supposedly taken a bus to St. Paul back on May 8th, the day he was last heard from, to visit his grandmother and his girlfriend. But the crucial thing, obviously, is Manny never showed up at either place.
That's an immediate red flag right there. And then you add in that last text Manny sent his mom. It was just after 4 a.m., 4:02 a.m. on May 8th. And it said, "Mom, I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you. And I'll see you soon."
Wow.
And his mother confirmed, yeah, that was his style. That's how he texted her. So given that message, that heartfelt message, and the father's story, what does Ashley Berry's gut feeling tell us? She said she knew right off the bat that something was wrong.
Well, from an investigative perspective, that's huge. It speaks to, a mother's intuition, understanding established patterns. A kid sends an "I love you" text and then vanishes, especially when the parent he's with gives an inconsistent story.
Yeah.
It's a massive warning sign. And Ashley also mentioned another red flag, the father's behavior. Initially cooperative, she said.
Okay.
But then when, quote, "stuff hit the fan," he just stopped talking to law enforcement. That kind of shift, investigators pay close attention to that.
Right, that change in cooperation is telling. And then, what really seemed to cement those early worries were the cell phone records.
Oh, definitely.
Manny's phone. It was turned off at 5:33 a.m. on May 8th, just about an hour and a half after that last text.
Right.
But then, crucially, it switched back on, just for 3 minutes, though, on May 11th.
3 days later.
Yeah. And that brief ping, that signal connecting to a cell tower, it placed the phone right back at Collins Sr.'s apartment.
And here's the kicker.
The father's phone pinged there, too.
Exactly. At the exact same time during that same 3-minute window. Both phones, same place, same time.
So why is that detail, that short reactivation and the dual ping,
Right.
why is that so critical for the investigation?
Well, think about it. The phone wasn't just lost somewhere. Being off for days and then turned on briefly, especially inside the father's apartment, it suggests someone had the phone, someone was controlling it.
Right. Manipulation.
It provides a really critical digital breadcrumb. It puts the father directly with Manny's phone after Manny was supposedly gone on that bus trip. This kind of evidence. It can really sharpen the focus fast, shifting from missing person to potential crime scene.
Okay, connecting the dots then. These early suspicions, the cell phone pings, it all led to the investigation escalating quickly.
It did.
On May 15th, just a week after Manny was last heard from, investigators got a search warrant for Collins Sr.'s apartment. And what they found inside was, frankly, disturbing.
Yeah, very disturbing. They reported finding blood staining inside garbage bags, blood spatter on an apartment wall, and several knives described as butcher and hunting-style knives.
And something else was noted too, right? Missing items.
Yes, a piece of a mattress was missing, and a section of the carpet had been cut out and was gone.
So beyond just the horrific nature of finding blood, what does that specific evidence, the missing carpet, the blood in garbage bags, those types of knives suggest about what might have happened.
It points towards a pretty deliberate effort, maybe even panicked, but deliberate, to conceal something, to clean up. Missing carpet, missing mattress sections. That strongly indicates someone trying to remove physical evidence of, well, likely a violent act. Blood in garbage bags, along with those specific knives. It suggests, grimly, an attempt maybe to dismember or at least package remains for disposal.
To make it harder to find.
Exactly. That level of concealment often implies a clear intent to cover up what happened.
It's just chilling. And the DNA testing, inevitably, it confirmed the blood was Manny's.
Yes, that solidified everything.
And then investigators got another huge piece of the puzzle. Video evidence.
Crucial. Absolutely crucial.
The video apparently showed Manny's body being placed in a dumpster there in Columbia Heights. And that dumpster's contents, they ended up in a garbage truck.
That was the breakthrough they needed. It gave them a trajectory. Instead of searching everywhere, it told them where to look, essentially.
It transformed an almost impossible search into something targeted,
Right.
right? But still, a massive undertaking.
Oh, immense. Searching a modern landfill. It's finding a needle in a haystack doesn't even cover it. It's vast, complex, and frankly, unpleasant work.
So by June 7th, they were deep into searching a specific landfill near Elk River,
Yep.
based on that garbage truck route. Hundreds of searchers involved.
A huge effort speaks volumes about their dedication.
And then, tragically, on June 28th, they found him. Manny's body was located at the waste management landfill in Elk River.
Yeah, and there was a detail noted when he was found.
He was wearing a black windbreaker.
He was, which was consistent with what his father had initially told police Manny was wearing when he supposedly last saw him heading for that bus.
Wow. Okay, so the autopsy. What did that reveal?
The results just confirmed the horror. Manny had been decapitated, the instrument used was determined to be a knife, and the manner of death was officially ruled a homicide.
Just unimaginable. And Collins Sr.'s explanations after the body was found.
They didn't hold up. He tried to explain the evidence found in his apartment. He claimed he'd cut the mattress and carpet because he was cleaning up his own blood from some injury.
His own blood.
That was his claim. And the knives, he said he used those for butchering goats and sheep.
Which doesn't explain the blood match to Manny or the location of the stains.
Exactly. The pieces didn't fit his story. And there was another contradiction.
What was that?
He told police he'd called Manny a couple of times when he supposedly didn't hear from him after the bus trip.
Okay.
But the phone records, they showed only one call from Collins Sr. to Manny's phone, and that call was made on May 13th.
The day after the police first contacted him about Manny being missing.
Precisely. Not before.
So based on all of this, the physical evidence, the digital evidence, the conflicting statements, George Dupree Collins Sr. was formally charged.
Yes, on July 9th, 2025, charged with second-degree murder.
Okay, for our listeners, what does a second-degree murder charge generally mean in a case like this? Especially considering, as we'll get to, no motive has been officially stated.
Well, typically second-degree murder implies an intent to kill, but it lacks the element of premeditation, the planning beforehand, that defines first-degree murder.
So the prosecution believes he intended to cause Manny's death, but maybe it wasn't planned out far in advance.
That's generally the implication, yes.
Right.
It suggests the killing itself was intentional, even if not premeditated. And you're right, motive isn't strictly required to prove the charge of second-degree murder, legally speaking, though, of course, prosecutors usually try to establish one for the jury.
We've mentioned the charging documents a few times. Can you just clarify what those are exactly, their role at this point?
Sure. Think of the charging documents or the criminal complaint as the prosecution's opening statement in a way. It's the formal document they file with the court. It lays out the basic facts of the case as they see them, the evidence they've gathered so far, and explains why they believe there's enough probable cause to charge this specific person with this specific crime. It gives the court, the defendant, and the public a summary of the allegations.
Got it. So Collins Sr. is currently held at the Anoka County Jail. He had his first court appearance on Wednesday, July 9th. Bail was set pretty high, $2 million, with conditions.
That reflects the seriousness of the charge.
And what's really striking and leaves this huge question mark hanging over everything is that those charging documents, they don't lay out any motive. The why remains completely unknown, officially at least.
Yeah, that's a significant gap right now.
Which brings us back to Manny's mother, Ashley Berry. Her heartbreak, but also her her determination. It's incredibly powerful.
Absolutely.
She made this emotional plea saying, I'm hoping my son get the justice he deserves, and I hope this person doesn't get away with what they've done.
You can feel the pain, but also the resolve in those words.
She mentioned that detectives had tried to prepare her for the details in that criminal complaint, the charging documents we discussed. But reading it was still, in her words, terrible,
I can only imagine.
especially seeing all that graphic information suddenly spreading on social media. She also said reading the complaint, she realized there was a lot of stuff I didn't know.
What's that like for a family member, getting that level of often brutal detail about their loved one's final moments, especially when they're already dealing with such immense grief?
Yeah, talk about that.
It's just an unimaginable burden to carry. Detectives, they do their best, they try to cushion the blow, but nothing can truly prepare you for reading those cold, hard facts. It's often this horrific collision between your loving memories and the brutal reality presented in legal documents.
Right.
And like Ashley said, having it then splashed across social media, it just forces you to relive that trauma over and over publicly. It amplifies the pain immensely.
Ashley really painted a picture of who Manny was, too, which makes this all the more tragic. She called him great, said he had a very old soul. She talked about how he touched a lot of people that don't even know him and how he just wanted peace. Very family-focused, apparently a bit of a ladies' man.
Sounds like a typical vibrant teenager in many ways.
Yeah, loved skateboarding, basketball, water parks, video games, YouTube, playing with their pets. And he loved photography, his uncle taught him. It sounds like he really had a lot going on, a full life for 16.
He really does. And Ashley also shared how responsible he was. Like, he took care of his grandmother's lawn every week, always checked in on his mom.
Wow.
He had plans, jobs lined up already at 16. But what's particularly striking, given who's been charged, is Ashley's shock about the father's alleged involvement.
Right.
She said, point blank, I never saw them signs. And then, I've been knowing this guy since I was 14 years old. He loved his son.
That history.
Yeah.
That's profound.
It is. She even trusted him enough to let Manny live with him out in California for years. There were apparently never any concerns before this. No red flags she saw.
That really underscores the shock and maybe the feeling of betrayal here. It wasn't something building up from her perspective.
Exactly. It speaks to the sudden, unexpected horror of it all for her.
Ashley did express a lot of gratitude, though, for the community support, the detectives, the reporters, her friends, family, everyone who helped in the search for Manny.
That community effort is often vital in these cases.
But she's also realistic.
Yeah.
She anticipates a long roller coaster ride, she called it, a long process ahead, and she suspects there's a lot more that comes out that we don't know.
You know, what always gets me in these situations is that resilience. People like Ashley Berry facing unimaginable grief, yet they become these fierce advocates for justice.
Yeah.
And her acknowledging that long process ahead, it's a very clear-eyed, somber recognition of how tough and draining the legal journey is for victims' families. It doesn't end with an arrest.
No, it's just the beginning in many ways.
Yeah.
And that quest for why, the motive,
Yeah.
it's clearly something she's wrestling with.
Understandably.
She put it so honestly, I don't even know if I even want to know the why, because it doesn't make sense. But then she added, but maybe we do deserve to know the why, so hopefully that come out in court.
That internal conflict, it's so human, isn't it? That need to understand, even when the potential answer might be incomprehensible or offer no real comfort.
Yeah. Is knowing the why often a crucial step for families, even if it's painful?
It often is. Even when all the facts are laid out, the charges are filed, the human mind just struggles when there's no apparent reason for such a horrific act, especially parent against child. For families, getting some understanding of the why, even a disturbing one, can be a necessary, though incredibly painful, part of trying to find, well, not closure maybe, but some way to process it.
Right, some way to frame it, perhaps.
Yeah.
And ultimately, her definition of justice for Manny, it wasn't about getting him back, obviously. She said it was about accountability, and he needs to feel his extended line. Yeah, he needs to feel every bit of what he's done and think about it every day.
Accountability, holding the person responsible for their actions.
So this deep dive, it's really peeled back the layers on the meticulous police work, hasn't it? The grim evidence from that apartment, the landfill search.
Yeah, the sheer effort involved in piecing it together.
And most profoundly, just the immense grief and strength of a mother fighting for justice for her son.
It's such a stark, tragic reminder of how one single devastating act can just completely unravel so many lives. And it kicks off this incredibly complex, long journey through the justice system, searching for truth, for accountability.
But often leaving that biggest question unanswered.
Right, that profound, lingering question of why.
Even with charges filed now, you can see how that deep why might stay elusive. And it leaves the people most affected, like Ashley Berry, navigating this incredibly long, painful road, just trying to find some kind of peace eventually.
Yep.
This story really highlights the exhaustive police work, the stark realities of forensic investigation, and just that unwavering determination of a parent. So thinking about everything we've covered, what stands out most to you about this incredibly tragic situation? What are the questions that you might carry away from this deep dive today?